to give your Majesty's reply to those who await it. Stay, Marshal, I will not appear to parley with rebels. Madame, I have pledged my word, and unless you order me to be arrested I shall be forced to return." Anne of Austria's eyes shot glances of fire. "Oh, that is no impediment, sir," said she. "I have had greater men than you arrested, Gutent." Mazarin sprang forward. "Madame," said he, "if I dared in my turn advise, would it be to give up Broussel? Sir, if so, you can spare yourself the trouble." "No," said Mazarin, "although, perhaps, that counsel is as good as any other." "Then what may it be?" "To call for Monsieur le Coadjuteur." "The Coadjuteur!" cried the queen. "That dreadful mischief maker, it is he who has raised all this revolt." "More reason," said Mazarin. "If he has raised it he can put it down." "And hold, madame," suggested Comminges, who was near a window, out of which he could see Hold. "The moment is a happy one, for there he is now, giving his blessing in the square of the Palais Royal." The queen sprang to the window. "It is true," she said, "the arch hypocrisy." "I see," said Mazarin, "that everybody kneels before him, although he be but coadjutor, whilst I, were I in his place, though I am cardinal, should be torn to pieces. I persist, then, madame, in my wish." He laid an emphasis on the word, "that your Majesty should receive the coadjutor. And wherefore do you not say, like the rest, your will?" replied the queen, in a low voice. Mazarin bowed. "Monsieur le Marshal," said the queen, after a moment's reflection, "go and find the coadjutor, and bring him to me." "And what shall I say to the people?" "That they must have patience," said Anne. "As I have." The fiery Spanish woman spoke in a tone so imperative that the marshal made no reply. He bowed and went out. D'Artagnan turned to Porthos. "How will this end?" he said. "We shall soon see," said Porthos, in his tranquil way. In the meantime, Anne of Austria approached Comminges and conversed with him in a subdued tone, whilst Mazarin glanced uneasily at the corner occupied by D'Artagnan and Porthos. Ere long the door opened and the marshal entered, followed by the coadjutor. "There, madame," he said, "is Monsieur Gondy, who hastens to obey your majesty's summons." The queen advanced a few steps to meet him, and then stopped, cold, severe, unmoved, with her lower lip scornfully protruded. Gondy bowed respectfully. "Well, sir," said the queen, "what is your opinion of this riot? That it is no longer a riot, madame?" He replied, "but a revolt." "The revolt is at the door of those who think my people can rebel," cried Anne, unable to dissimulate before the coadjutor, whom she looked upon, and probably with reason, as the promoter of the tumult. "Revolt thus it is called by those who have wished for this demonstration, and who are, perhaps, the cause of it. But wait, wait, the king's authority will put all this to rights. Was it to tell me that, madame," coldly replied Gondy, "that your majesty admitted me to the honour of entering your presence?" "No, my dear coadjutor," said Mazarin, "it was to ask your advice in the unhappy dilemma in which we find ourselves." "Is it true," asked Gondy, feigning astonishment, "that her majesty summoned me to ask for my opinion?" "Yes," said the queen, "it is requested." The coadjutor bowed. "Your majesty wishes, then, you to say what you would do in her place?" Mazarin hastened to reply. The coadjutor looked at the queen, who replied by a sign in the affirmative. "Were I in her majesty's place," said Gondy, coldly, "I should not hesitate, I should release Broussel." "And if I do not give him up, what think you will be the result?" exclaimed the queen. "I believe that not a stone in Paris will remain unturned. Put in the marshal. It was not your opinion that I asked. said the queen, sharply, without even turning around. "If it is I whom your majesty interrogateth," replied the co-tutor in the same calm manner, "I reply that I hold Monsieur le Marchal's opinion in every respect." The colour mounted to the queen's face, her fine blue eyes seemed to start out of her head, and her carmine lips, compared by all the poets of the day to a pomegranate in flower, were trembling with anger. Mazarin himself, who was well accustomed to the domestic outbreaks of this disturbed household, was alarmed. "Give up Broussel," she cried, "fine counsel. Indeed, upon my word, one can easily see it comes from a priest." Gondi remained firm, and the abuse of the day seemed to glide over his head as the sarcasms of the evening before had done. But hatred and revenge were accumulating in his heart silently and drop by drop. He looked coldly at the queen, who nudged Mazarin to make him say something in his turn.